Hello, it is the end of April, so it's time for a wrap-up. In April, I read 8 books. Again, I don't know what is happening. I don't know why 8 is the number that keeps recurring almost every single month except for March. I don't know what's happening. But let's just get into the statistics, cause, yeah. First, we're gonna start with genre. I read 4 fantasy books and 4 romance books. Exactly half. Weird. And in terms of star rating, I read 3 4 stars, 2 3 stars, and 3 2 stars, which is terrible. And in total, I read 2,628 pages. Nice. Now let's talk about the books, which I, to be honest, have probably forgotten already. So, yeah. So the first book I read in April was Solitaire by Alice Oseman. This book is about a girl named Tori. If you've read Heartstopper, it's Charlie's sister, and Tori is very depressed. One day when she comes into school, she sees post-it notes leading into a room, and that is how she encounters Solitaire, which is an anonymous person who does pranks on the school, and basically Tori and her new friend Michael end up trying to discover who Solitaire is. Now, I give this a 2-star. I kind of hated it. I'm not gonna unhaul it because it matches the series of books by Alice Oseman. So, there's that. But I literally hated this. I hated Tori. I predicted who Solitaire was right from the beginning. Not the beginning, but very early on. I literally did not like any of this. So yeah. It's not a good book. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna rant about it. The next book that I read, well actually I didn't read it, I listened to it, was Written in the Stars. This book was for my book club, which I'll leave everyone else in the book club in the description. And this book, I don't remember the author, but I know their last name is Bellefleur. This book follows 2 characters, Elle and Darcy. They go on a date and it goes really badly, so they end up hating each other. But when each of them have problems, I'm not going to explain them, they end up fake dating to make their respective families shut up, basically. So, yeah, I'm just gonna say it's that. It is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, kind of. Not really. Inspired. It's also a fake dating book, obviously, and a kind of hate to love. So, yeah. I liked it. I gave it a 3-star. Maybe it's a me thing. It probably is. But it was okay for me. Okay, firstly, I'm not really an avid astrology person. I don't really care that much. Obviously in TikTok when you're scrolling and something appears, I look for mine, but I don't really care that much. So the constant astrology things like, if you're an Aries, listen to this Christmas song, no. So that kind of annoyed me, first of all. Also, the book was very predictable and cliche because that's the kind of book it is. Which I kind of figured from like a third in. So, yeah. The last thing, which was probably the worst that made me lower the rating, is the miscommunication trope, which I hate. And if you read this book, you know what I mean, and I hate it so much. But apart from that, it was good. I listened to it on audiobook, which I don't really recommend, because it was very confusing to figure out who was talking, and listening to sex scenes is an experience I never thought I would have, so there's that. The next book I read was The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. This is about, I already forgot, oh, this is about Lenny and her sister Bailey dies, and after her death, Lenny is a bit weird, and she ends up having an attraction with the sister's boyfriend, but also to the new boy in school, which is already all kinds of weird, and I don't know why I read this, but yeah, that's basically the plot in my head. It's not what it says behind here, but we're gonna leave it. As you may probably guess, I gave this a 2-star. Why? Because it was bad. I know I keep saying I hated these books and I've never given a 1, but I don't feel like they deserve a 1. So let's actually talk about why I gave it a 2. First of all, I hate the love triangle. It is so bad. I hate it so much. The romance is way too fast and bad. Not enough chemistry and weird bad kiss, all of the above. I hate poems. Full of poems and bad ones. All the characters are unlikable and bad, especially the main character. She is so annoying. And the peak of the iceberg, number one annoying thing of this book, is the use of words like what WTF Asaurus. What is that? What is that? I think that's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's bad. I hated it. I might unhaul it. I might keep it because it's pretty. Who knows? The next 2 books that I read, even though it's one book in my hand, are Shadow and Bone and the short story that is in the back of this book called The Tailor. If you don't know what Shadow and Bone is about, where have you been? It is about, it is basically the prequel series before Six of Crows, kind of. And it follows Alina, who is Alina. I don't know how to explain this without spoiling. Alina is a soldier. Okay, I can spoil it. It's fine, it says on the back. Alina thinks she's a normal human being, but when she goes into a weird place in this world called the Shadowfold, she unleashes a power that is super mega rare, because she's the only one that has it, which is called a Sun Summoner. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. The show came out. Watch it. I gave this a 4. It wasn't the best thing of my life, but it wasn't bad. The only complaint that I had was that I predicted some things in this. Probably because I've seen spoilers on Twitter, but I don't know. But I did like it. I've watched the first episode of the show, and I was very triggered that they changed a lot of stuff because I had just read this. But that's me. And the story in the back called The Tailor is about a character called Genya. I think that's her name. I don't know. I don't like the character, so I didn't really care for the short story. I think it's supposed to make you feel sad about the character in her life, but I didn't really care because I don't like her. And it made me like her even less, so yeah. I gave it a 3, so it was okay. The next book I read was The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This is about a girl called Luna, and in her village, the youngest person every year is sacrificed to the witch in the forest. And that year it is Luna. Luna is then saved by a witch called Zan, and we follow Luna, Zan, and also the people in the village called the Protectorate. I really loved this. I gave this a 4, even though I maybe should have given it a 4.5, but whatever. I loved listening to the audiobook. It was so good for this book. It is narrated by a woman that sounds like a grandmother, and since in the story we have chapters that are like a grandmother telling you a story, I thought it was perfect. I really liked the story as it was. It was really fun. I liked to see the different perspectives and how stories can change. If you read this, you know what I mean. Yeah, I really liked it. It was really cute. Next, I read another bad book, which was It Only Happens in the Movies by Holly Byrne. This book is something else. This book follows a character named Audrey, and she starts working at a movie theater. At this movie theater, she meets a boy named Harry, and he is very clearly a bad boy. Whoa. Audrey knows to stay away from him, but obviously that does not happen because it's a book. I gave this a 2-star. Duh. So bad. Before I start saying why I hated it, when I finished reading it, I didn't know if I was gonna give it a 5-star or a 2, so yeah. I Did not like this whole book until probably there. No, a little bit more. This. I hated all of that, and this last part was the part that was making me debate whether to give it a 5-star. Which is problematic, and thank God I didn't give it a 5-star. I hated the main character. I hated the whole story. It was so bad. The only thing I liked was the ending. And it was still trash, but I liked the ending. And I only liked the ending because of my personal experience in life. So I highly don't recommend reading this. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. And the last book that I read this month was When the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore. I read this, obviously, if you don't know, because of Books and Lala. And it was so good. Okay? Just really good. This is about two characters, Miel, I'm gonna say that in English because it's gonna be weird if I say it in Spanish. Miel and Sam, or Samir. I'm so bad at names. These two characters are special because this is a magical realism kind of book. Miel, aka Honey, she has flowers growing out of her body. Kind of like Timothy Green, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It is really good. I give it a 4. It was so beautiful. The writing is amazing. The story is lovely. I loved it. If I had cried, I would have given this a 5-star. Also, it unexpectedly turned dark, which I love. So that was really cool. I don't have any complaints about this. I gave it a 4-star because it wasn't a 5 and it wasn't a 4.5. Those are the only reasons I can give you, which makes no sense, but yeah. But these are all the books that I read, plus the audiobook in April. It was a pretty bad reading month, I'm not gonna lie. But that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next weird video. Bye!